Hi everyone, thanks very much for joining me today. As said, my name is Aaron Stone. I'm the Vice President of Exploration at Amex Exploration. Hopefully everyone's heard from enough Australians at this conference that the accent isn't too much of a problem. I'll try to not put any slang words in there so everyone understands me. So, still in Quebec, moving on from O3, a bit further north along the Jacoby Deformation Belt. We'll jump right into it, seeing we only have less than 15 minutes. So forward-looking statement and qualified person statements can be found on our website in full detail. So just quickly, breakdown of the capital structure, 115 million shares outstanding, fully diluted 117 million. 4 analysts that cover us are over on the right-hand side there. And we are Eco-Logo certified, meaning that we operate in an environmentally friendly manner in the exploration industry in Quebec. Our latest financing was closed earlier in the start of February this year. Strategic partner Edorado came in for 9.9% of the company. With the charity flow-through structure that brought in 26.65 million, meaning we are fully financed to continue drilling towards the end of 2025. We currently still have 3 drill rigs on site spinning as we speak, and have drilled about 65,000 metres so far this year. We'll end up by the end of 2024 roughly 80,000 metres for the year, and the plan for 2025 is to roughly drill the same meterage in 2025 also. So the management and board of directors at the conference here with me this week is Victor Cantori, our president and CEO. Wanda Cutler, our VP of corporate development, is also here, as well as Jonathan Garnier is our VP project development that was just recently added to the team. He just recently completed the build out of the Greenstone mine in Ontario, and his goal here is to build a mine on the Perron project in Quebec. So the property location, just as in real estate, location is key. We're in a fantastic location within the middle of the Abitibi Greenstone Belt, roughly an 8-hour drive from either both Montreal and Toronto. Infrastructure in the area is key. We operate out of a small town called Normétal, which was built for a historic producing VMS mine, bit over 10 million tonnes. You can see the grades of the VMS property there. It was mined down to a depth of 2.4 kilometres, so we know that these mineralised systems in the area, whether they be VMS or gold, can have extremely deep roots. So far, we've defined our high-grade zone down to 1.3 kilometres, and it remains open at depth, so we believe it can have similar roots down at depth also. Here is the town of Normétal that we operate out of. So as I said, we're really greatly located. A lot of larger towns surrounding Normétal as well, such as Lassar. Only a 1-hour drive to the south is Rouyn-Noranda. Our core shed, where we built all our core storage facilities out the back there, the access road leaves directly from town and goes to where our drill rigs are located, only 7 kilometres to the northwest of town. The infrastructure in the area is key. There is an electrical transformer station here right next to the town, which not only powers the town of Normétal with clean hydroelectrical energy, but also powers the Casa Berardi mine to the north of us, 60 kilometres to the north of us for Hecla. The closest point of this high voltage line to our ore bodies is only 4 kilometres. So this is going to really help out bring down the CapEx, which we'll be looking to highlight in our first PEA that will be coming out in Q4 of this year, so roughly mid-November. Just last week, we put out our first resource, which I will get to right here. Our first resource that we put out last Thursday, and really this is just a starting base for the gold that we have in the ground here at the Perron project. So property-wide, a bit over 1.6 million ounces in the measured and indicated and inferred categories, and really the highlight for us at the Perron project is aptly named the high-grade zone, where we have 750,000 ounces of high-grade material. You can see the grade in the bottom right-hand corner there, from inferred all the way to measured, all above 10 grams per tonne. Something really important to note out as well, out of this resource, is that we have noticed that as we increase in confidence from inferred to indicated to measured resources, our grade only gets better and better. So to say that as we increase and tighten up our drill spacing, the gold grade, not only within the high-grade zone, but property-wide increases, which is speaks volumes to the nature of our mineralisation at the Perron Project, in that it's very continuous in nature and there's not too much of a nugget effect going on. The tighter we drill, the better it gets. So a bit of a lay of the land to show where all our drilling is completed. As I said, we still currently have 3 drill rigs on site. We've never stopped drilling since discovery of the high-grade zone in 2018. We've currently drilled a bit over 500,000 metres, but only roughly 430,000 of those metres went into the resource. So the drill database was cut off on June 30th. So any drilling done past that date hasn't made it into the resource and will be held in the drill database for future iterations off the resource here at Perron. As you can see, no major lakes, no major rivers, so from a permitting standpoint, will be really simple to permit. At this point in time as well, we're envisaging it to be mainly an underground operation with some small open pits. Obviously, moving forward, not only do we want to expand those underground ounces, also expand upon the open pittable ounces as well, but from the shot point, the standpoint as we are now, being a really underground focus will be more favourable from a permitting standpoint also. This is a highlight of all our resources at the Perron Project. And you can see here the high-grade zone has been defined down to a depth of 1.3 kilometres vertically so far, with the highest, an assay also down at 1.6 kilometres vertically, so the zone remains open at depth. So like I mentioned, this is all the drilling that we've completed on the Perron Project up until now. And so 70,000 metres of that drilling isn't captured in this resource, as we do have some VMS discoveries on the property as well. But none of that copper zinc mineralisation or any of the silver credits that may exist within our gold zones has been captured in this resource. So the upside for the economics for the base metals and the silver that may exist at the Perron Project haven't been looked at. We didn't want to confuse the story. This is mainly a gold project. So the resource that we presented last week was just purely gold numbers, but it does have that upside potential of having the base metals on the project also. So this was the resource that was released last week, property-wide. So from the Gratien zone all the way in the west to the Team zone in the east, we've got a little bit over 4 kilometres in strike length. And if we zoom in on the eastern gold zone, which is where the bulk majority of our ore bodies are located in very close proximity to one another, you can see the high-grade zone tucked away behind the Denise zone there, which we were also able to extrapolate down to significant depths also. The high-grade zone then to the Team zone, which is in orange, is only 600 metres to the northeast. Our newest discovery, the JT zone, is only 600 metres to the north of the high-grade zone. So a made-up word I like to use, the closology of these deposits is extremely important for us at AMX as well. Specifically focusing on the high-grade zone now, as this is where the bulk majority of the value creation coming out of the Perron Project lies. You can see the longitudinal of the high-grade zone there with the mineralised shape in the background. It is important to note out as well that the numbers we presented for the high-grade zone include the internal dilution of the mafic intrusion that sits in between our 2 super-rich quartz veins. So rather than trying to split out the 2 veins by themselves, the gabbro sitting in the middle of them was modelled all as one body. As you can see, the body is almost vertical, dips at 89 degrees to the north, so essentially vertical. So a bit of a dream from a mining engineering standpoint. It's really going to help bring down the operational costs, which will be highlighted in the PEA in mid-November as well. Some of the jewellery box, as we call it, close to surface here, starts only roughly 100 to 150 metres below surface, where our super high-grade portion of the high-grade zone begins. As you can see, we really peppered a lot of drill holes into that area to really prove that the mineralisation within the high-grade zone is super continuous in nature, and that the more we drill, we don't lose any ounces. The zone is very easy to follow and extremely continuous, which is great that we're not seeing too much of a nugget effect going on in the zone, and is very continuous in nature all the way down to a depth of 1.3 kilometres. If I zoom back out again as well, so you'll notice that the zone remains open at depth, and there are also some areas closer to surface that we believe will be continue to add some ounces close to surface in the high-grade zone also. So moving on a zone-by-zone basis, the Gratiene zone, most of our other zones have really only been defined down to a vertical depth of roughly 300 to 350 metres, so we really see a lot of low-hanging fruit in the balance of our zones where we continue to rapidly expand them. We've done a lot of work, predictive modelling with machine learning and AI and things like that, and it's giving us a lot of great drill targets to go after. One of those predictions is that there is a secondary body line hid down here underneath the Gratiene zone, where you can see we've been able to extrapolate a little bit of inferred resources so far, but we believe with some further drilling we'll be able to find some more high-grade pockets at depth in the Gratiene zone. The Grey Cat zone just to the northeast is of Gratiene hasn't seen anywhere near as much drilling as the high-grade zone, and we currently have a drill rig sitting here working on expanding these areas down dip. The JT zone, which only roughly 7 to 8 holes made it into the resource calculation, we've at least tripled the amount of drilling on this zone here. Even more exciting than the low-grade ounces that we're starting to see in the JT zone is more the potential of the geological implications that this could have for the genesis of gold mineralisation within the entire Beaupré block at the Perron project. So if I zoom into this geological map here, we're starting to see that this felsic intrusion that has disseminated sulfides in it with low-grade mineralisation, rather than also the gold mineralisation that is there, we'll be able to probably add a small starter pit there, but it's more the implications of the felsic intrusion that was found. We're starting to see some geological similarities between ourselves and the Windfall project, which is an intrusion-related deposit, in the fact that this felsic intrusion is striking east-northeast at 80 degrees, and if we put a line through the through the Beaupré block, we can see that matches up perfectly with the Alazie zone number 8, the Grey Cat zone number 7, and Gratiene number 10. In that exact same orientation, east-northeast, 80 degrees, that's the exact same orientation as the high-grade zone, which if we put a line through the Beaupré block, lines up perfectly with the Team zone and the Denise zone. So the potential of with this new geological thinking of looking for more of these felsic intrusions along the western portions of the Normétal fault and finding further high-grade zones in this western portion of the Beaupré block, which has relatively limited sparse drilling at this point in time. I'm really excited about making further discoveries at the Perron property. Quickly, the metallurgy is extremely strong at the project. Specifically on the high-grade zone, we were able to recuperate 75% of the gold just via the gravity circuit. Once the cyanide circuit was added in, all three composites were well above 99% recovery. That speaks volumes of the nature of the gold mineralisation within the high-grade zone. Native gold, large gold grains, not trapped within sulfides. This is why we're able to skip out the flotation process in the metallurgical work. So this will really help out for a simple flow sheet with the build of the mill, as we believe we do have a standalone operation here at the Perron project. This was the balance of the metallurgical results that we released earlier this year in our other zones that made important contributions to the resource at Perron, and they all came back better than 95% also. So to finish off with, as we only have a minute left here, these are some of the corporate objectives moving forward for the remainder of this year and in 2025, with the big next catalyst for us being the PEA that will be coming out later this year, as I mentioned, roughly mid-November. So just to highlight, this is really the resource that we put out last week is just a snapshot in time. We'll continue to drill, continue to grow it. The PEA that comes out in November will be a base case of the economics at the Perron project also. And over the coming years, as we continue to drill, we'll work to continue not only building the resource, but continuing to improve the economics.
Okay, well, you're out of time, Aaron. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.